Hi everyone. Today we are going to start with Chapter 5 Hormonal Communication, Activity 2, which includes an endocrine gland called the thyroid gland, page 88, 89 in your books. As an introduction, you have to know that there are two types of glands. Our body possesses two types of glands. We have something called exocrine glands. Exo means outside. Okay, endocrine glands, it means inside. Let's see the difference between an exocrine gland and an endocrine gland. An exocrine gland, it secretes its products such as enzymes through a duct. So the exocrine glands, in other words, they maintain a contact with the body surface by a duct. It directs its secretions through a duct. Example, we have the salivary glands that secrete the salivary amylase, okay, involved in digestion of cooked starch. And all other glands, we have the teary glands, we have the sweaty glands, and mammary glands. So the exocrine glands, okay, their products are secreted through a duct. What about an endocrine gland? Endocrine. And endocrine glands, they do not have contact with the body surface or the cavities. Okay? They do not have ducts. They secrete hormones directly into a blood in order to reach their target organ. So the endocrine glands, they secrete their hormones, okay, directly into the blood, and they flow through the blood to reach the target organ in order to act on. So example, thyroid gland. We are going to talk in details about the thyroid gland, and you will recognize many other endocrine glands that exist in our body, and they have many important functions. Now, at the beginning, let us define a hormone. As I told you that the endocrine glands, they secrete hormones into the blood in order to reach their target organs, in order to work, to perform their functions. What is a hormone? A hormone, it's a chemical substance secreted directly into the blood. So the hormones, they act at the level of the blood. Okay, they are secreted by the endocrine glands, and they act at a distance on one or several target organs. So they act, maybe one hormone, it acts on many target organs, not only on one organ. Okay, so they are chemical substances that perform their functions through blood. Okay, they act at a distance on one or several target organs. We have in our body some glands. They are classified as an endocrine and exocrine, such as the liver, such as the gonads, and the pancreas. They perform both functions, endocrine function and exocrine function. Look here, the exocrine gland, okay, they secrete their products through a duct. Here, the endocrine glands, okay, the hormones, they are secreted directly into the blood, okay. So this is the difference between an exocrine and an endocrine gland. Today, we are going to talk in details about the thyroid gland. At the beginning, let us see where it is found in our body, where it is located, where it is situated, where it is found. The thyroid gland, it is situated in front of the larynx. So, you know, we have the mouth, the pharynx, and the larynx, where the epiglottis is found, and the vocal cords. The thyroid gland, it is located in front of the larynx, okay? It secretes two hormones. So the two hormones that are secreted by the thyroid gland, we have T3 and T4. T3 stands for triiodothyroxine hormone, and T4 stands for tetraiodothyroxine hormones. So the thyroid gland secretes two hormones, T3 and T4. It is richly vascularized. It is surrounded by many blood capillaries with no excretory canals. And look from here at this figure. It consists of two lobes. This is the right lobe and this is the left lobe connected by an isthmus. Okay, and this is the structure, the complete structure of a thyroid gland. So till now, we've known the location of the thyroid gland. It's located in front of the larynx. It secretes T3 and T4 hormones. Okay, it is highly vascularized and it consists of two lobes, right and left lobes. So this is concerning the structure of the thyroid gland. Now, in document A in your book, it is showing you the function of the importance of the thyroid gland. Let us see the first experiment. What does it involve? In the first experiment, what was done? Ablate the thyroid gland of a young tadpole. What do you mean by ablate? Remove. So they removed the thyroid gland from the young tadpole. This prevents metamorphosis but doesn't affect growth. We obtain giant tadpoles. You know, by metamorphosis, okay, the tadpole is going to be changed into a frog, right? The stage where the tadpole gonna become a frog. We noticed that when the thyroid gland was removed from the tadpole, from the young tadpole, such tadpole remain a tadpole but with a bigger size, okay, but it doesn't change into a frog, okay, so it becomes bigger in size but it doesn't change into a frog. In other words, metamorphosis doesn't take place. So from here we were able to know the importance of the thyroid gland in the tadpoles. So it's important for the transformation of tadpole into a frog. More simply, it is important for metamorphosis to take place. If I asked you to interpret document A, to interpret the first experiment, what do we say? In the absence of thyroid gland, the tadpole grows normally, but it doesn't change to a frog. As a relation, as a significance, so the thyroid gland is responsible for the transformation of a tadpole into a frog. In other words, the thyroid gland is important for metamorphosis. So this is the first conclusion or the first function concerning the importance of the thyroid gland in a tadpole. Let us see now the second experiment. In the second experiment, we'll be able to know the role, the function, the importance of the thyroid gland. The ablation of the thyroid in young sheep lambs shows the following symptoms. The ablation, I repeat, it means removal. When the thyroid gland was removed in young sheep, in the lambs, what happened for them? We noticed that there is cease of growth. Cease, it means stop of growth, and delay of ossification. It means that their bones, okay, they do not grow properly. They take more time to grow, okay. The long bones, they stop growing while those of the skull grow normally. So from here we notice that the thyroid is important for our long bones, for the development of the long bones and not the skull bones, okay. Chilliness and hypothermia, it also plays an important role in regulating the body temperature. In its absence causes low body temperature. Hypothermia, it means low body temperature. The person feels cold. Muscular weakness and apathy. Okay, the muscles will become weak and not good development. High mortality, high level of death. So from the second experiment, what can you conclude? Why is the thyroid gland important? What does it ensure? What are the main functions of the thyroid gland? So from here we are able to know the role of the thyroid gland. Why is it important? It's important because it ensures the growth of the body bones, the long bones and not the skull bones. It is also responsible for maintaining our body temperature constant. It's important for the proper functioning of the muscles. Its absence, as you've seen, that its absence causes muscular weakness and apathy. So it's responsible for the normal functioning of the muscle. And finally, it's important for cellular oxidation reactions to take place in a proper manner. So from the second experiment, okay, we identified why the thyroid gland is important in our body. It's important for the development of a proper body bones, for maintaining our body temperature constant, for maintaining the proper functioning of the muscles, and for keeping the oxidation reactions taking place in a proper manner. So, and concerning the tadpole, it's important for metamorphosis. So this is for the, till now, we recognize the location of the thyroid gland, the hormones secreted by such a gland, and its important functions. Now let's move to document B. It's very important where 4 experiments were performed, okay, and the results are seen in the table. Let's see what happened in the 4 lots or in the 4 experiments. In lot 1, in experiment 1, nothing took place. Okay, there was normal growth. While in experiment 2, ablation of the thyroid took place. They removed the thyroid gland. We noticed that there was a ceasing of growth, no more growth. The growth stopped. In experiment 3, ablation of the thyroid, they removed the thyroid, followed by then grafting at the level of the abdomen. Then they placed it again at the level of the abdomen, and the graft is rapidly vascularized. It was supplied by many blood capillaries. Okay, we noticed that there was normal growth, and in 4 there was ablation of the thyroid. They removed the thyroid, but then what happened? It was followed by the injection of the thyroid extract or thyroxine. Thyroid extract, they mean by it the thyroid hormones, okay, or thyroxine. We noticed that there was normal growth. Let us pick out, or let us conclude a simple conclusion from each experiment. None, when nothing took place, we noticed that there was normal growth, okay? So the thyroid is responsible for normal growth. When it was removed, no more growth. So what controls our growth, our normal growth, is the presence of the thyroid gland. With respect to experiment 3, it's very important. It's showing you that if the thyroid gland was removed, but it was grafted at any place in our body and being vascularized, your body will not be affected by the ablation, and it's a place wherever it was placed, there will be no problem. Okay, your body is going to function properly and ensure normal growth. So from here, we can conclude that the place of the thyroid gland doesn't affect its function. Wherever it is found in your body, wherever it is grafted, your body is going to act normally and to ensure normal growth. So such a gland, its place is not doesn't affect its function. It's going to work normally wherever it is found in our body. With respect to experiment 4, when the thyroid is removed, okay, if we removed our thyroid gland, but if we receive injections of the hormones that are secreted by such a gland, also your body will not be affected by its ablation. So if you remove the thyroid gland, but you receive injections of the thyroid hormones or thyroxine, your body will work normally and you will have normal growth, because despite the absence of the thyroid gland, you are receiving the hormones that are secreted by such a gland, so your body will work normally. It will not be affected, okay? So this is all about document B. How do we interpret document B? Of course, interpretation requires the result with the variable and a significance concerning each experiment. Let us make a simple interpret for document B. In the presence of thyroid in experiment 1, there was normal growth, whereas the absence of the thyroid in experiment 2, there was ceasing of a growth. So from these two experiments, what was the significance? So the thyroid is responsible for the normal growth, whereas there is normal growth after grafting the thyroid gland at the abdomen, and there was rapid vascularization. So the place of the thyroid doesn't affect its function. It's going to work normally. Whereas the ablation of the thyroid and injection of its extract, thyroxine, the hormones, leads to normal growth. So thyroxine is responsible for the growth that flows through the blood. And as a note, when we say thyroxine, it's the hormone that consists of iodine and amino acids. So, as I said, tetraiodothyroxine and triiodothyroxine, the T3 and the T4 hormones, the thyroxine hormones, they consist of iodine and amino acids. So, this is all for document B. Before mentioning some endocrine glands found in our body and the different hormones secreted by each, I'm going to remind you with what we have studied till now. We defined an endocrine gland and an exocrine gland, and we identified what we mean by hormone. You've seen the location of the thyroid gland, and we've mentioned the functions, the important functions performed by the thyroid gland, and also we concluded that if the thyroid gland was ablated, but if it was grafted at any place in our body, it is going to function normally. Its place doesn't affect its function. And also, we concluded that if the gland was removed, but we received an injection of the hormones that secrete them, our body gonna work normally, because the hormones are going to flow through blood and perform the function of the gland. Now, in document C, it is showing you an important endocrine glands in our body that play an important role. Okay, let us start with the hypothalamus. Look at the hypothalamus. It secretes a hormone called GnRH, gonadotropin releasing hormone. Such hormone is important. It acts on the pituitary glands. It's important. It acts on the pituitary gland, which is the master gland in our body. And it's important for releasing FSH and LH hormones. Second, we have the pituitary gland, the master gland. It secretes two important hormones, LH, the luteinizing hormone, and FSH, follicle stimulating hormone. These two hormones, they act on the ovary of the woman, and they cause it to release the hormones directly, which are involved in menstruation and many other functions. So till now, we've discussed the hypothalamus and the hormones secreted by it, the pituitary gland and the LH and the FSH hormones that are important for the female. Now we have the thyroid gland, which is our main topic for today. The thyroid gland that is situated in front of the larynx. It secretes T3 and T4, which play an important role in regulating our body weight, the energy levels, the internal temperature, regulating our nail growth, our skin, and many other functions. Also, it secretes calcitonin. What about the hypothalamus, the pituitary gland, the thyroid gland, the adrenal glands? Look at the adrenal glands, okay? The adrenal glands, they are important. They are endocrine glands. They secrete adrenaline, which has another name, epinephrine, which is involved in many functions. Also cortisol, they secrete cortisol, the stress hormone. Okay, the adrenal glands, they secrete adrenaline and cortisol, and they are important in regulating many functions, such as elevating our blood pressure, and also they boost energy supplies. With respect to the ovary, it is also an endocrine gland. It secretes estrogen and the progesterone, which are the two most important hormones in the female body. Okay, these two hormones, they play an important role in preparing the uterus for menstruation and for many other functions. I'm mentioning simple explanation about each hormone. You are not responsible to study the function of the hormones, just knowledge, but you have to study the endocrine glands that are found inside our body: hypothalamus, pituitary gland, thyroid gland, adrenal glands, ovary. We have the testicles, okay? The testicles in our body, they secrete the male hormone testosterone. It's important in the development of the male reproductive issues, as well as it's responsible for promoting the secondary sexual characteristics in the males. Okay, and with respect to the parathyroid gland, it secretes parathormone. And with respect to the parathyroid gland, it secretes uh, parathormone, which is important for the release of calcium by the bones into the blood, as well as the absorption of calcium from the food by the intestine. What about the pancreas? The pancreas, it is responsible for secreting two hormones. They are very important: the insulin and the glucagon. The insulin, it helps the body cells to absorb glucose and to reduce the blood sugar in the body. And the glucagon, okay, the glucagon, okay, it's a hormone, okay, that instructs the liver to release stored glucose, which causes the blood sugar to rise. So they are opposite to each other. The insulin lowers the blood sugar in the level of sugar in the blood, and the glucagon, it rises the level of sugar in the blood. And both of them, they are secreted by the pancreas. The thymus, it secretes thymosin. Okay, the thymosin, it's a hormone that stimulates the production of T cells. You know the T cells, okay, from grade 8, they are very important in immunity. Okay, so the thymus is responsible for the thymosin is a hormone that stimulates the secretion of mature T cells, which play an important role in immunity. And finally, we have the pineal glands. Okay, here are the pineal glands. They are important for the secretion of melatonin. Melatonin is a hormone. The brain produces it, okay, in response to darkness. Okay, it helps our body to sleep. So at night, the level of melatonin increases. Okay, the pineal glands, they secrete the melatonin, and it helps our body to sleep. It gives an order for our body to sleep. So these are endocrine glands that exist in our body, and we've discussed together the hormones and their importance in our body concerning their function. Finally, we are going to move to two cases, okay, dysfunctioning effects of the thyroid gland. We are going to see if there is a problem in the thyroid gland, what we will suffer from. If we have a decrease in the rate of thyroid hormones in the blood, if the gland is not secreting enough amount of hormones, of the thyroid hormones in the blood, we will suffer from a case called hypothyroidism. Hypo, it means low. Low concentration of thyroxine or thyroid hormone in the blood leads to hypothyroidism. It has another name, mixed edema. While if our body, if the thyroid gland is secreting a lot of thyroid hormones in the blood, an increase in the rate of thyroid hormone in the blood, the person will suffer from hyperthyroidism or base dose disease. So any dysfunction in the thyroid gland, a person will have a problem. So if his body, if the thyroid gland isn't secreting enough thyroid hormones into the blood, such person will suffer from hypothyroidism. And if the person, if the thyroid gland is secreting a high concentration of the thyroid hormones, this person will suffer from hyperthyroidism or base dose disease. Let us together see the signs or the symptoms of each of the two cases, hypothyroidism and hyperthyroidism. In case of mixed edema or hypothyroidism, in other words, when the thyroid gland isn't secreting a good level of the thyroid hormones, okay, if he's an infant, okay, he will suffer from severe mental retardation, okay, and disproportional dwarfism and delayed puberty. He will not grow normally. And with respect to adults who suffer from hypothyroidism, they will show a goiter. A goiter will appear on their neck, swollen face, protruded face, a slightly low temperature. Okay, they will feel cold. They will feel cold all the time. A decrease in the basal metabolism. They will gain weight easily. Apathy and muscular weakness, their muscles want to grow properly. And here are many other symptoms: nervousness, insomnia, itching, weakness, increased bowel movements. So these are the signs that appear on people suffering from hypothyroidism or from people whose thyroid gland isn't secreting enough amount of the thyroid hormones in order for our body to function properly. What about hyperthyroidism? The people who have hyperthyroidism or base dose disease, what do they suffer from? What are the symptoms that appear? First of all, protruded eyes or bulging eyes. Their eyes will be protruded, okay, or bulged or swollen. Okay, what else? Enlarged thyroid also on their neck. The thyroid will be clearly seen, enlarged. Okay, weight loss. They will lose weight easily. Okay, muscle weakness, edema. What else? High temperature. They will suffer from high temperature. They also suffer from nervousness and irritation and rapid heartbeats or cardiac rhythm. What else? Difficulty in sleeping, irritability, hair loss, so muscle weakness also, weight loss, frequent bowel movements, soft nails. All these, they are signs corresponding to hyperthyroidism, or when our thyroid gland is secreting a high level of the thyroid hormones into the blood. This is all for activity 2. Any question, please ask me, and thank you.